glass.
The pot?
Yes.
So we're here to talk about something very serious and also very important, especially to us as creators and artists. So we're basically talking about gender-based violence in line with this year's theme for the 16 days of activism against GBV. Generation equality stands against rape. Yeah? So we basically just want to talk about where we stand as artists, what our role is, and what we're doing currently and what we can do further to stand against rape. So let's just start with introductions. Everyone just say their name, what they do, and then we'll take it from there. So my name is Phindu Zaie Banda. I am a poet and I am your curator today.
Yeah, you just started.
Okay, great. I'm Kylie Brown. I'm a fashion designer, pre-tertiary motivational speaker, and a fitness instructor.
My name is Ausrine, but people call me Ocean. And I'm from Lithuania. I'm an interior decorator, muralist, and painter, and in general, a very creative person.
Hi, I'm TJ Chirwa. I'm a fashion designer, interior designer, artist. Yeah.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Hi guys. Alright. Hi guys. I'm Mac. I bring the creative energy.
Hi guys. I'm Vanessa. I'm a feminist.
So hello. I'm Brandon. I'm the admin here. So I work with artists all the time. Though I'm not an artist, I'm in a way artist.
We are all artists. Hello guys, OT, that's my name. I am an arts-based researcher, practitioner, and I do chill with artists a lot, and I'm happy to be here.
Hi, my name is Lerato Honde. I'm an artist and an architect.
Alright, so many artists and not so artists, but we're all artists. So maybe the first thing I'd want to know is whether we feel like as artists we've got a role to play in fighting against GBV. Where GBV is gender-based violence, so do we have a role to play in fighting against gender-based violence?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
My bad for asking that way. Let me rephrase. What role do we have as artists in fighting against gender-based violence? Or what role do we play?
In my opinion, we can actually more show than to tell. Mm-hmm. And I think we can create a solution via creativity, right? So I don't know if it's a good example, but I just saw the picture. The kids with mother sits in the bus, right? And they both read books, even the kid. And another lady asked the mother, how do you tell your kid reads a book, right? And the lady said, I don't tell, I show, right? So I think we as an artist, without any long conversations, during artwork period, we can actually show people and do that influence, very strong influence. Yeah, that's my opinion.
And just to add to that, I think that art is a universal language, but at the same time I think art is a tool for problem solving. So I like to think of design and art as one wholesome thing, because we can use art, we can use visual, we can use aesthetically pleasing things to bring the attention of people, but we can add a function to it so that people can now interact with it and engage with it. So with gender-based violence, we could perhaps have some sort of an installation, for example, or a painting can be some kind of a vessel to portray a message. So,
yeah.
Is that something that we see every day, or is it something that works in theory but not in practice?
I feel like it's something that doesn't work every day. Like coming from a layman's perspective, I know I'm surrounded by artists, so you guys understand each other's language, but standing from the outside looking in, I feel like I was actually thinking when you guys were talking that how can you use art? Because yeah, you're saying it in theory, but how can you practically use it to inform people? Not to undermine it, but I'm really curious. I'm genuinely curious to say that, okay, how can we really get artists involved in the work, to help women, children?
Okay, I'm no expert on that, but then I think I can start just a small point. I think art, what it does is it sparks conversation. So, for example, if you paint a mural in somewhere like at a shop where when you're passing this M1 road, like you have these billboards. For example, if there's a mural, which I don't know, it's a scene or anything based on like GBV, people passing there will like ask each other. Firstly, what is that? Because it'll grab their attention. So from that, just asking the person sitting next to you to say, what is that? And then they might not know, but then if they know, you can start discussing then, okay, what does that mean? Or then what issues are being discussed there. So I'm no expert, but then that's how I feel.
Yeah,
that's one way.
And also, like when you started saying what you said, the first thing that came to mind was that phrase that one picture says 1,000 words.
Yeah, right.
So I think that people have been saying thousands of words about GBV, and maybe it's time to add on by using some visuals as well, some visual. Yeah. So that's my point.
So like, okay, my point of view is it doesn't really help because the people like basically when we talk of Malawia's control, right? Because most of us do not know that it is GBV or how can we deal with it. Because I mean, first of all, you have to tell this girl that if a guy does this to you, it's GBV. I mean, it's rape. Because it's weird, kind of weird to hear from a person saying that my boyfriend raped. You know, it's kind of weird, but it happens. So when it happens, nobody can like voice out because they do not know how to do it. They do not know how to go about it because they do not know what's going on initially. So I think
Because it's so normalized.
so the art scene should come in like in an informative way, like just to tell us what our lights are and how we can go about issues.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe the artists or the art sector is not aggressive enough in spreading their message?
Yeah,
I definitely.
I think so too. I think we really don't utilize our platforms because I feel like if we work together as a collective and utilize our platform as one platform as the arts industry or the arts, I think we'll spread the message quicker than it would be if an individual artist were working on it. So I feel like collaborations could also be a very good way to like spread the message and to like get like spark the conversation and get people engaged.
Because I think if people are afraid to talk about this and they kind of reject to talk about this, we as an artist, we shouldn't afraid to create a very brave art. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If nobody wants to talk, I want to create. You know, and doesn't matter how like brave my artwork is. You know what I mean?
Talking about sparking conversations and being brave and bold with our art. Are we ourselves as artists educated about GBV and rape culture? Where do we draw this inspiration? Are we informed enough for us to actually speak on it?
And you've heard a lot of people who are in the limelight, celebrities say, I don't want to be a role model. And people get shocked by that.
Yeah.
And then there's people who think just because you're in the limelight, you're an actor, you're a poet, you're an artist, then you must stand behind a certain message. And there's a lot of people who stand behind a message because they feel they must, yet they don't understand. It's not coming from a place of passion, it's coming from, oh, because I have a voice, then I must say this. And they're saying it, they're not practicing it. They're probably not even conveying the message in the right way because it's not something they've researched, it's something they've been told. Hey, you know, you're a poet, we're having this function, we want you to come and tell people about A, B, C, D. If they would have a private conversation with you, maybe it's not what you stand for, maybe you stand for something else completely different. So I think apart from just having a voice and choosing to do something, we also have different areas of passions that we should pursue. Truthfully, honestly, if we're going to send a positive message, it should be a message we actually believe in and not because we have the platform.
Just to add to that, I think that an artist has to be an informed person to be able to be an effective artist. I don't think it's necessarily about your skill or how well you're able to portray an image, but I think it's about how well you're able to engage and how well you're able to allow other people to engage with your work. So I think that your work, using your voice, you should be able to also have the knowledge about the topic that about the topic you're trying to address and how to allow other people to sort of engage with that.
And also like the problem then comes in the fact that the key players that are trying to like help spread this message, and then eventually try to use or encourage artists to also use their platforms and their voices to spread the message, they tend to include the artists at the ends of the project, like after everything has already been like sorted out, whereas like all the logistics and how they want to do things, all the planning is done, and then they're like, which artist should be used? But then like it needs to start with the artist. You know what I mean? They need to be part of the process so that then they also like they also internalize the message fully, so that when they then take it out to the people, it's believable. Like if they take it out and they don't believe it, you can see it. I see that in musicians all the time, where it's like they go spread a message about washing your hands, and they don't even have time to actually like internalize it and like make a proper like analogy or metaphors. They just come out and they sing, "Wash your hands," and then with soap, and then that's it. That's it. Yeah, you're gonna add some auto tune to my singing on that. But that's what I
see
I
see what you're saying. So with regards to visual artists, I really would like to know how we're portraying these things when we do portray them, or how things are being done outside by other artists. Because we talked about being brave and being aggressive with our work, but is that something that's actually being done? Can you just go out and say, for example, portray a rape scene in all its horror and have people react to that? Or are we painting to little pretty shades of pink on it and just making it seem attractive enough for people to see what we're saying but not really see what we're saying?
Okay, but like first of all, maybe you wanna go into like which is it good to like paint a rape scene with all the like the blood? Is it what does that do to like human behavior or whatever?
I don't think that rapists should necessarily always be made the villain in the artwork. So for example, I don't think that it's necessary to always paint a rape scene, for example. I think that there are more sensitive ways of addressing it, so that the rapist learns that they're actually, what they're doing is rape, and they understand the gravity of the situation, not to be able to watch a movie and think, okay, that is a rapist and I'm not, because what I'm doing is just playing cool on the side. So to understand what leads to rape and how to prevent certain things from happening, as opposed to just making people villains. I think that we should introduce them into the conversation.
Okay. But before you go far, I just want to know if you guys understand what rape is. Do we all understand what rape is? I'm sorry to be the one.
Let's just assume.
I think it's not necessarily need to be like experience on our own, but I think we all have in our like near environment that accident or something like this. So I think we as an artist, we in general, we are very empathic and emotional. So it helps us to realize and understand some things. So about the art, right? Like I think artists also sometimes become that person who wants to earn actually money and don't even have opportunity to express themselves the way they want. It seemed like I was talking about abstract art with the guys, right? And I said most of the people, it's not that they don't understand abstract art, they don't want to understand, right? So the same about if we want to paint something like that, we're afraid that people won't even bother to understand this art.
My fear is, from my feminist perspective, is that you can easily, I'm really trying to be very sensitive and not undermine an artistic process.
Go ahead.
But I acknowledge the work and effort, the time you put in, the heart, the soul. I understand the emotional experience. But I also want to say that, you're putting out art, but I also want the preacher to practice what they preach. I think that's where my problem is. It's because even like what Mac mentioned earlier about washing your hands. Like if you're saying, okay, let's all wash our hands, because people don't always see your art, they also see you as the artist, and they also want to see what you stand for. So I feel like definitely like your art speaks also about who you are as an artist, but I also want to say that like people also see the person behind the brush. They see the art and the person behind the brush. So you can't say that, okay, here's my art, I've drawn a very, very articulate picture, and it's really informing people. People are talking about it. There's so much conversation around it, but then you go home and rape your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because artists, I want to also look at the artist as a person and how they can contribute to this whole movement.
Yeah.
I don't want us to romanticize it.
Yeah.
I don't want us to be like, oh, it's so beautiful, and just paint like green or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I want us to be real about topics that really affect people. And rape is not something that's like so far-fetched, or it's just like a horrific experience. Oh yeah, it is horrific, but it's so common. That's my problem, and it's normalized. It's common and normalized. So when you say rape, don't say it like it's something that's happening 10 miles away, or like overseas, or it's happened to somebody who you don't know, because it's happening around us. We just don't talk about it. So like what Oti said, like sparking the conversation through your art, and also what Max said, practicing what you preach. Because if you're telling me that you want to be inform us about rape, if you want to be like against GBV and then beating up your girlfriend, what are we doing? You know? Because I won't listen to you. I'm like, yeah, but this guy like sleeps with kids. This guy rapes his girlfriend. This guy beats up his girlfriend. So what are we doing here? You know? So I feel like as artists, you also have to have accountability for your work, and also as human beings, you also have to be like accountable for how people see you.
I agree definitely. And just to add on, I think what's resonating with me so much is about before you like inform other people, you have to first of all understand what it is you're informing the people, as you say. So like I think that's what's bringing out like right now. Like if you wanna talk about like GBV, what's our role? Then are we all like well informed about like, GBV and rape? So.
But what about the perspective or the idea that, you know, as an artist, you're just trying to express what you know, you know what I mean? Your own experience or whatever you think already, it might be right, it might be wrong, you just have this idea and you want to express it, you want to put it out there. Is that then, if you're not in line with, you know, what this and that is defined to be, then are you wrong? Should your art not be out there? Should someone like censor it? Like, how does that work then?
Like, as an artist myself, especially because I am always present to be accountable for my work, because I'm actually speaking in the moment. I think as artists, we cannot afford to be wrong, if you get what I'm saying. And this is from like a personal experience. And you can't, in as much as we want to be creative and to express ourselves from our experiences, we can't afford to be wrong. Because we've said here countless times that people are actually watching us, and we've got so many people who listen to us and who wait, and they're, you know, interpreting our work and trying to learn from that. And when we allow for that room to actually, you know, be wrong, then there's so many mixed messages that we're sending, and so many other people that we can lead astray. So I still feel like it's really important for us to be informed about what we're talking about, especially when it's really important topics like these. Like if you're just drawing a flower, then, you know, that's drawing a flower. If I'm just talking about, oh, I'm happy, that's something else. But when we talk about really serious issues like rape and GBV, we cannot afford to send out the wrong messages.
I want to add that what you said about artists being added at the end, I think where that goes wrong is an organization a company will say, we want to have this advert to spread this word, and let's get, for example, Mac, because he's famous, to talk about it and sing about it. Yet he's doing it for money. Very few people, well, if you were famous. Just an example. Right. Where now the artist is there for the aesthetics. It's for the interest. It's not exactly about the message. That, you know, so the person becomes secondary. But because the person is well known, is noticed, people are more focusing on that. And then, as you said, it dissolves the message. Where you're like, oh, they asked him to talk about this, but have you seen him in his everyday life? You know, instead of them sort of picking people who align with their message, it's about who's going to get the most views. Who are people going to listen to? Whose song are they going to sing?
So guys, we're taking an intermission. So bathroom break. If you want to
Are you okay?
Yo.
Okay.
We good. Okay. Rolling. The roll.
You guys didn't say lights, camera.
Joe.
So oftentimes, guys, when we hear about rape, we also then hear follow-up questions like, what were you wearing? And, such questions that take away from the discussion. And so I just want us to also talk about the fashion side of things, like designing clothes. Is that something that we should be taking into consideration and like trying to create modest designs so that we're not, in any way contributing to rape culture?
I think it shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
I think it shouldn't matter. It's not about what you're wearing. I think it's about the rapist. Because at the end of the day, there's no way you're going to blame someone for. We all have eyes and we all see different people wearing different clothes. There's no way you can say that sparked something inside me to rape someone. So I don't think it's about the clothes. At the end of the day, it's about the person, and it's.
Devil's advocate, TJ, man to man, dude. Like sometimes you see like some, parts and you see some flesh or something, and you get a little turned on.
Yeah, but I don't want to rape the person.
So it's the action. That's
it's
the
the person.
whole other.
My point is it's the person.
Yeah.
So it's.
And I think that by giving designers some sort of framework to work by, you're validating the person's thoughts.
Exactly.
Yes, that's true.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly.
I mean, I've heard of people being raped who were dressed head to toe covered.
Yes.
And there's people who go out and about in bum shorts and were not touched at all. So it's indeed about the state of mind of that person. I mean, I'm sure people have thoughts they do not act on. As you said, you might see someone nice, but it doesn't mean he's going to rape them. And there's some who, I don't even think it's about what a person is wearing. They will just act on whatever evil part of them that they listen to.
People are out here raping 3-4-year-old babies, man. It's crazy.
And I think it's sick, like if we cover ourselves all the time but a mind not be raped, this is not the life supposed to be.
It's
just
it's not right. You can't live your whole life afraid that if I wear this, this is gonna happen.
That's true.
And also, I like what Lerato said about how we then validate all these excuses about when you wear something like that, you're gonna get raped.
You're gonna get raped.
And we don't want to do that.
Sometimes, how we really had a hot summer? Sometimes you just want to take your shirt off.
Bro,
Exactly.
I just want to be shirtless, but I'm even scared of what the women might say. You know what I mean? It's like, do you think that
And you.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you're like Dio or Chanta and Objectifying. Do you think that then we can also kind of use this platform to lead the conversation into the guy's perspective, where now you're objectified, and I know it's not common, but it's still it's a thing.
it's a thing.
We're talking the other day about how, because people for so long we've believed that men actually want sex and everything related to, we tend to then say, okay, so you must have wanted this if it's a conversation where a guy was raped, for example. And so then how do we turn away from that line of thought? How do we then say, no, not every guy is simply walking around waiting to have sex with the next person, and it can happen as well, and men are raped as well. And how do we then normalize this discussion, not the act itself, but then also allow men to come forward and to speak out against abuse?
I think that also speaks to manhood and how even when men are talking to each other, they feel like they have to wear some sort of strong kind of image, like I can get this girl, I can be with this girl. But I think men, like any human being, have a vulnerable part of themselves, which should be expressed, and men should be given the space to do that. So if they are a rape victim, they have the space to talk about it.
It's a masculinity thing, because during pre-production there's a discussion that's about how muscles, this is science, muscles in cold weather, right, they tend to get smaller. They don't expand. What's the opposite of expand?
They contract.
Muscles contract when the weather's cold, when the conditions are cold. Science. But the men in this room were like, no, not me. No, I'm not just.
I can't contract.
No, that's a you problem.
Can we
patriarchy is where it came from.
I think the point here is I think patriarchy has like also bad circumstances or bad like disadvantages the guys in a way too. Like it's not just good for the guys and then the women are like disadvantaged, but then even though a smaller degree, but then it still has to be acknowledged to a certain degree because there are girls who like in the clubs will like touch your arms or just but then you can't say that to your guys even though maybe you like it, but then maybe you don't. So like you can't like then say talk about it with your guys, then you'll be looked at as because the patriarchy doesn't allow you to like speak about it. So
so like when you tell your guys they're like picking you up.
You should like that.
The thing is, it goes back to what I was saying. We need to be informed. Yes. This is happening to me. How do I go about it? You know?
What's wrong and what's right?
Bro, come on.
Like that also, like, come on, you can't have it to me.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
This is what it's all about. This is exactly it.
According to the statistics, 1 in 3. Okay, back to women, but then essentially this relates to everything. 1 in 3 women will be experience sexual violence
at one point in their lives.
At one point in their lives. So maybe I don't know what the statistics are for men, but if we can talk about it because it's happening in our spaces. So if we have we're having this discussion now, we don't know. Maybe it's happened to me, but then it's like if we allow this discussion not to just be about an image or even the way we create our work, it shouldn't just be about us having an image. It should actually be us trying to tackle the problem within our context.
True.
And also like I'm sorry, but like even I read somewhere where it's like most violators usually have gone through it themselves as kids. And then the stats that you just pulled out, then it makes a lot of sense because even if you like bring up the example of like R. Kelly and people like that, he had a past where he was abused and then he takes it on other people because he's now in a position of power and things like that. So I think then it starts from back from like the roots.
And I think just to add on to what you're saying, I think the reason why maybe we don't have as many stats about men is because they don't speak it out. Because they don't speak it out, and that's why the only stats we have now is about suicide. Like there's a lot of suicide.
They can't
speak it out, but then it shows because it's an action.
So I'm gonna wrap this up with just So what I want to take home from this is the fact that as artists we live in a community where so many things are happening, and we do need to utilize our platforms to talk about it, to express it, but at the same time we need to be accountable, we need to be informed about the things that we speak of and the things that we create, and also at the same time make sure that we're creating environments where other people can also come in, feel safe enough to be vulnerable and to share their experiences, and maybe then we can all heal and then actually be generation equality.
Beautiful.
Wouldn't I say it better myself? You still don't put me down as a fashion person. Man.
Oh, and also so are we still rolling? I also just want to acknowledge that Mac is a fashion person.
Mine is also like anyway.
So GBV.
Being informed,
being engaged,
and to
being engaged.
Ending rape.
Oh, DJ is getting engaged. He's got 2 rings. 16 cheers. 1, 2,
break the glasses.
3, 4, 5.
16 is a lot.
6, 7,